Eddie, good morning. Did you come back from Everton okay? No fresh injuries from the other night?
No fresh injuries, I believe. We have a good look at the lads today. Positive physical performance, I thought. Wasn't the biggest game in terms of load, so lads are okay.
What's the latest with Sven Botman, who you mentioned last week was managing a back problem?
Yeah, with Sven, he's going to see a specialist in the next couple of days just to get a sort of definitive opinion whether he needs an injection or whether he's able to rest for a few days and then resume training. So we'll wait and see. And
how is Johan Wissa getting on as he continues to build up his fitness?
Yeah, he does. He participated in an 11v11 sort of training game while we were at Everton. I think he'll have another one at some stage this week. And we'll see how close he is.
Looking at the match against Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow night, you've already played them once at St James's Park in the League Cup. I think they had quite a few players unavailable that night, many of whom are back. How different are you expecting this game to be to what you faced, I think, 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was a tough game, and this one will be no different. As you say, might see a sort of a change in personnel because they've got a few players back from that game, but they've got a strong squad. They've got depth in the squad, so I think they've got some very good players. Obviously, a very good manager as well. So, it would be a great game, I think.
Looking at the way the table's changed in the last week or so, it's clear, isn't it, the importance of putting a run and a sequence of results together, which is probably something you hadn't been able to do so far. How important is it that continues as you go on through this busy period?
Yeah, we always felt, even during some difficult runs, that the league's very tight this year, and a consistent run of victories can propel you very quickly up the league. We're in a better position than we were, and not necessarily in terms of league position, but in terms of points gap. And as you say, a couple of wins, and we're back to where we want to be. So really key time, because what you can't do is allow yourself to become detached. We know where we want to be. We've got work to do to get there. We really need a run of games where we get positive results. That's what we're looking for.
Just want to ask you finally about Nick Pope, because you mentioned at the weekend that it was an injury sustained in training that prevented him from being with you at Everton, and Aaron Ramsdale played instead. Have you got an update on his fitness, Nick Pope?
No further update from Saturday. Again, he's probably one of a number of players that we'll analyse early this week and then try and get a proper diagnosis.
Thank you. Keith?
Hi Eddie, it must have been nice for Aaron to come in. He's waited patiently for his chance to come in and be part of such a good win as well. I guess he was in a good mood afterwards.
Yeah, I didn't really see him actually, to be honest. Media duties, etc. But I'm sure he felt good returning back to Newcastle, as we all did after the game. There's that feeling that we haven't had very often away from home, where you've done a good job, you've completed your objective, and then you're focusing on the next game in a positive way. So he can be very pleased. It's a really good start for him. I'm sure he's in a good place.
And I guess for you as manager, how much of a bonus is it sort of going down, winning a game as comfortably as you did, and at the same time managing to get rest into the legs of the likes of Anthony Gordon and Sandro Tonali, Jacob Murphy, and I suppose it gives you decisions to make ahead of this game tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. We've said all along this year, especially where we are now with the schedule that we've got, it's going to be very much a squad effort that gets us through this season. I think we've tried to manage the squad effectively in the last few games, where obviously it's a lot of information that we take in. So I get a lot of information from the sports science team, the medical team, and then we all try and come together and make the right decision for the individual players. But the big thing is focusing from West Ham and Brentford, that we enter the pitch and we're able to physically give our best. And that's probably where I stand right now, is in whatever team I pick, I want them physically to execute it, because I think if they can do that, then technically and tactically I think we'll be okay.
David Moyes said after the match, Newcastle are arguably the most physical side in the Premier League, and he said for much of that match, he said we just couldn't stop them on Saturday. I guess for you as Newcastle manager, that's music to your ears. That's the sort of thing you want to hear from your opponents, isn't it?
Well, it links to my previous answer, really. When we're very good in that respect, I think we're very difficult to play against. I think we've executed a couple of games this year where we haven't been that team, and then we're nowhere near as effective. So with the game schedule we have, fresh players on the pitch is one thing, but obviously then you have to execute the plan, and physically the players this year are going to have to dig deep because there's a lot of games. But that was a big step forward against Everton.
Just finally from me, Nick Voltham had a scorer again at the weekend, and what a finish it was. It could have been a simpler finish for him, but he kind of goes for the dramatic, doesn't he? I mean, his highlights reel already, and he's only been here for a couple of months, is pretty good, isn't it? He scored some incredible goals, and that was another one to the collection.
It was. I mean, that was one of my favourite goals of his so far, I think. Yeah, I mean, and I think the finish was on, but very few players, I think, would have been able to execute it in the manner that he does. He has a way of making things look quite dramatic, and it was. I thought it was an outstanding finish. Really good play from Anthony Elanga in the build as well. Great to see him get his assist and show his pace and what he can deliver for us on transitions. But Nick did the rest, and he did it really well.
Thanks, Keith. Andy?
On Eddie.
Right.
Were you able to celebrate your birthday at all on Saturday? Because it was a hectic sort of day. Did the players sing you a song or anything like that, or not?
Joe Linton actually tried to get a chant going, but then it fell away quite quickly. And no one else joined in. But I thank him for the effort. I got home, I think it was about 11 o'clock on Saturday night, and it was straight to bed, so no.
I'm surprised Bruno didn't join in with that, at the very, very least. We've talked Nick Voltemade, Malik Chow. We saw this clip of you kind of rubbing your eyes, I guess, in disbelief at the fact that Malik's obviously got 2 goals. They're both headers. How much more is he going to be working on that in training to try and bring that to a match day again?
It's an interesting one with Malik because he's ended up, I think if you look back at a lot of our set plays, getting his head on quite a bit. So I think his movement, his aggression, his timing's really good. But he hadn't put the finishing touches to that in the way that he did on Saturday. 2 great headers, something we work a lot on. It's great to see that work coming good for us. The importance of set play goals we've discussed so many times when me sat here. It wins and loses you games. Great to see us on the right side of it. Hopefully that continues. And also a mention to Louis Miley and Lewis Hall for the 2 balls that they put in.
You mentioned a few names there. One was Anthony Elanga, obviously. You know, you'll be all coming back, dead happy, obviously, after a first away win of the season. But Anthony Elanga, in terms of what's been a kind of a stuttering start to his Newcastle career, he must be absolutely delighted to play a heavy contribution on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I mean, I think the first transition in the game, right from kickoff, is him almost running the length of the pitch onto a really good pass from Nick and almost scoring. And I think that set the tone for us in the game. So I think he can be very pleased with his contribution to the game and also how he's beginning to settle into the rhythm of life at Newcastle, because it is a big change for any player. I'm seeing a sort of a very level, steady performer. I think he continues to get better and better, but I think that was a big step forward.
I asked on Friday how important it was to back up the City win against Everton at the weekend. So how important now is it to back up your first away win back at home tomorrow night?
Yeah, that of course is the plan. I think it's vitally important that we find the consistency that we're searching for. It seems like we're sort of yo-yoing between Champions League and Premier League and not quite able to put our foot on the floor and find that sweet spot that we've been searching for all season. Hopefully this is the turning point for us. But every opponent we face in the Premier League is so difficult, and now we face Tottenham, who are a very good team. They've got their own strengths, and certainly a team that we're going to have to respect, as we always do, and try and put our plan in place to try and find a way to win.
Just finally, ahead of Spurs, do you feel like your Newcastle United are back with performances like Saturday?
I think the last 2 Premier League performances in particular have been us. I'm reluctant to say we're back. I think we'll prove whether we're back or not. But I think we're moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Nisha?
Morning, Eddie. Lewis Hall was one of your outstanding performers against Everton. Are you going to have to look at managing his load, kind of coming back from that injury, but at the same time he's proved how important he can be?
Well, we tried to do that in his early steps of coming back. I think it was really important that we didn't thrust him into starting too many games consecutively at that point. But I think the time away with England was important to get him some robustness, as in some 11v11 action in a 2-week period. I looked after him well, and then he's come back, and I think you can see towards the end of games he is fatiguing, but hopefully that will improve as we go through. there also comes a time when we have to try and get him to play the minutes that we need him to play. I mean, he's such an important player. He brings us his unique qualities, and we want him on the pitch as often as possible. So let's see how he feels. We'll always make a judgment call, I think, on the various tests that we do in the build-up to games.
And Lewis Miley has been someone that's had to, I guess, be patient, you know, with that midfield three that have been mostly very consistent in terms of playing this season. And does he keep impressing you with how he takes his chance when it's given to him?
Yeah, I think it's a really good group of centre midfielders that we have at the football club for Louis to be around at such a young age, for him to play with these players on a regular basis, train with them as he has now for a number of years, has only helped his development. I think now he's their equal, you know, he's there on merit. He's fighting for a starting place. He's certainly impressing me, I think, in terms of how he's training, how he's preparing himself for every opportunity that he gets. And it was a big moment for him on Saturday. It's the type of moment that, you know, for every player's looking to grab it. And I thought he did that in his own unique way, in a sense that he does that in a relaxed demeanour. But he wanted the ball. He was very good with the ball. That was key for us. He played with real calmness and control and set a goal up and scored a goal. Couldn't have gone any better, really.
Thanks, Nisha. We've got to Martin, Dominic, and then Lee, please.
Morning, Eddie. We know you're not big on social media, but there was criticism of Nick Pope following his mistake in Marseille. And on Saturday, we saw the Tottenham keeper, Vicario, receive verbal abuse during the game for his mistake against Fulham. Is the criticism and the abuse players are receiving now reaching unacceptable levels, do you feel?
Yeah, it is difficult for me to comment because I purposely stay away from it, so I'm probably not the best one to give an answer to that in a sense of reacting to what's happened because I've not seen it. I'm sort of aware of it, of course. I'm aware of social media and the power and the effect it may well have on players. I think it's a difficult one. I think it comes with the territory now. It's almost as a public figure, you have to accept that you're there to, or open to be criticised. It's just part of modern society and culture. My advice is always try and shelter yourself from it and just become robust enough to and psychologically strong enough to not need to read it or see it. But invariably people will show it to you even if you don't want to see it, and that's probably the issue a lot of the time. I'm sure the players have become accustomed to it and used to it, but it's still, if it crosses the line, I think then obviously the appropriate people need to be made aware of it.
The criticism Vicario faced felt unique in that it was from his own supporters actually during the match, though. I am assuming that's something you never want Newcastle fans to go down that route.
Yeah, I think I've said before that while the game's going on and the players are playing, the only thing I ask from the Newcastle supporters is that they encourage and support the players, because it's a very tough environment at the best of times, yet alone when you're getting criticised by your own. And I have to say that our supporters, I can't speak highly enough of. In my time here, they've been incredible in that respect. They have supported the players. They've always been with them, and that's all you can ask, really. I think we're as one. We're a team. Supporters, players, staff, everybody connected. We're all fighting for the same thing, and full respect to our supporters for how they've handled the players.
And sorry, last one. Is there a need for a reminder of just what Nick Pope has done for you and for this football club since he's been here?
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of Nick. Since I've worked with him, I think he's been outstanding, not just as a goalkeeper, because you see the product, but as a person, the character that he is, he's a really humorous lad. He's really vibrant and brings good energy to the group. And the players see that and respect him immensely. You can see that by the fact that they voted him into the leadership group as a mark of the character that he is behind the scenes. So his goalkeeping is second to none. He's the best shot stopper I've ever worked with. And we need him back.
Thanks, Martin. Dominic?
Morning, Eddie. Just on that topic, the goalkeeper decision, such a big talking point. How did it feel that what was shaping up to be potentially the most scrutinised team selection decision of the season was taken out of your hands to a degree?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that when you're me. I'm just making a decision like I do every week. There's no... Yeah, of course, every decision's a big decision. And that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as any one decision is bigger than the other. So this dramatic showdown of decisions, that's not the reality. I was disappointed for Nick that he picked up the injury when he did, and disappointed for us because we need him.
And Willis Sula, is there any chance of him being involved tomorrow night, or any clearer return date for him?
No, he certainly won't be involved tomorrow night. We need to have further discussions internally to see quite what's happening with his ankle, because it's not going in a straight line. We're not quite happy with how he's feeling, so I'll try and give you some feedback when we get it.
Lee Ryder?
Eddie, with Wissa, has his comeback date changed since the one that you had in your mind on?
I don't know, I've given so many different dates, I've got no idea. You tell me. There's been no change. He's working back. He's doing well. Everything's positive, but he will be back involved when we think he's able to contribute to the group and has a minimal chance of re-injury.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Isak finally get his first Liverpool goal yesterday. Are you sort of visualising Wissa getting his first for Newcastle? It'll be a great moment. I'm sure the roof will come off even more than it normally does at wherever that.
Yeah, well, I've got visions now of roofs coming off everywhere. Yeah, I mean, whenever he comes back, I'm sure from his perspective, and of course from our perspective, that first goal will be important. But I don't want to put too much pressure on him. He's still a little bit away from that. He's got some more work to do. Hopefully he comes through that, and then we can see him back on the pitch.
Thanks, Lee. Jordan, Chris, and then Kieran, please.
Morning, Eddie. I mean, you felt the pain of losing Elliot Anderson last summer, so how determined does that make you keep Lewis Miley at this football club for years to come?
Yeah, I think there is definite parallels there between Louis and Elliot, although they've had different journeys. Yeah, the Elliot situation I've commented on a lot. Probably shouldn't comment on that anymore. But I think from Louis' perspective, yeah, I'm determined to keep him here. I'm determined for him to have the career at Newcastle that I think he can have, and have the effect that he can have long term, and become synonymous really with the football club for many years to come. That's my hope and my wish. But of course, Louis will be the determining factor in that, in terms of how much he wants to be here, how his career continues to develop, what he gives to his training and development, etc. So, but I think he showcased his skills really well on Saturday and what he's capable of doing. The confidence levels needed to execute that need to be very high, and I think he delivered a really good performance and played really well with the players around him.
Yeah, and in terms of Lewis's game time this season, I think it's been 5 starts. Has he been disappointed by that at all? Or does he understand the situation because of the competition and also his development as well?
I think he's had good minutes this year. I think there's loads of different ways you could analyse those. You said 5 starts, but I think if you look at the minutes and put all competitions together, I think he's had good football. So, no, I'm pleased with his development. I'm trusting him in big games because he's showing me in training that he deserves that trust. And then, of course, there's always a huge responsibility. The biggest responsibility is on Louis to keep performing.
Chris?
Morning, Eddie. I don't think you've been asked in a while, and it's now the 1st of December, so I'm going to ask you about transfers. And you said previously there hadn't really been discussions, but there is just a month until the window opens. Have discussions started ramping up ahead of next month?
Well, thank you for bringing that back up, Chris. That's lovely. No, we haven't had discussions yet, but we will, and we will very soon, because we need to be across everything that's going to happen in January. We never quite know what the month will look like. You can have a vision of it being quiet or the opposite, and the reality can be very different. So we need to be across it. We need to be prepared for all eventualities.
Are you aware of if there is money to invest, and also are you keen to bring someone in if possible? You said before you like to freshen in every squad if you can.
Always would love to, whether it's bring someone in, but keep the squad fresh, and that will be a feeling that you have from within. So yeah, every window our sort of outlook is to be active. How that looks, I've got no idea. And finances, I haven't had those discussions yet. So, but as I say, we will do in the next few days.
Thanks, Chris. Kieran?
Morning. A quality fullback might cost 50 million plus right now. Can I just ask you about the work that's gone into Lewis and Tino since they joined? Obviously, it was a bit of a slow burner at first, maybe, but it's paying off now, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the same with every player, though. I think from our perspective, we bring players in, and then the work starts regardless of age. The work starts in trying to develop them and help them fulfill their potential. whether they need sort of moulding into our style of play or development in one key area. Those players you talk about, we've worked with a lot in different areas of their game, depending on what they've needed. I think we've seen good outcomes from that. I think really good progression in their careers. I think they both showcased that again really well on Saturday. I thought they both in different ways played really, really well. But that'll be the same if you look at some of the signings we made this summer. Taking, say, for example, Anthony Elanga, Jacob Ramsey could possibly follow a similar path where a bit of patience, work behind the scenes, and then you see them flourish in the team quite quickly. And we really believe in all those players.
Something completely different. There's been a bit of discussion in the league about goalkeeper timeouts after the Leeds Man City game. A player goes down injured. Should outfield players be able to receive instructions? I don't know. Have you any opinion on it yourself?
I think it happens. It happens all over the Premier League. I don't think it's something new. I think it's been happening for a long time.
Okay, Sean to finish, please.
Morning, Eddie. You've mentioned Anthony Elanga's performance a couple of times. I think that was his first start in the league since October 18, so he's had quite a bit of a sort of watching brief recently. How much do you think that's helped him sort of get used to the Newcastle way, as you put it earlier?
Yeah, I think he's had a mixture. I think he's had, like a lot of the players have had with the schedule of games, it's been a bit in and out for him. Well, it seems in and out, but obviously we're playing every 3-4 days. So, but I think sometimes when you come to a new club and you end up watching the games from the sideline can really help you understand what's needed and what's required at that club, how the team play. You're watching and learning and soaking it in, and then you're able to execute your own respective skills in that way, maybe slightly easier. So I think sometimes that can help, but of course Anthony will want to play and we will want to help him in every way that we can fulfill his potential here. I think there's good signs. Hopefully that's just a start for him.
And in recent weeks, youngsters Alex Murphy and Sean Neve have been involved in the squad quite a bit. How confident would you be, if needed, to throw them in when it's such a busy schedule coming up this month?
Well, every player is going to be needed, and regardless of age, regardless of experience, there may be a time when they're called upon, and we would trust on them to deliver. And I think Alex has been around us for a long time. Alex Murphy's been training with us now for a while. He's had good loan experience. I really like Alex. I think he's got a lot of strengths and potential. So let's wait and see. And then with Sean again is another player that's been training with us for a period of time. He's got the ability to score a goal, and he's with us on merit. So let's wait and see.